Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into the heart of pickleball's most talked about number, your DUPR rating.
That's right, and we've got some great sources for this deep dive. Pulled excerpts from a player profile, the official DUPR, how it works stuff, and a really helpful article from Pickleheads on the algorithm.
Yeah, good stuff. And our mission today is pretty clear. We want you, by the end of this, to really get how the system figures out your skill level.
hmm
You know, what actually moves the needle, and maybe what you can do to make sure that number you're rating is, well, accurate.
Right, whether you're just starting out, NR, not rated, or you're trying to push that number up a bit.
Exactly. So this is for you. Let's unpack
Okay,
this.
let's get into it. So first things first, what is DUPR? It stands for Dynamic Universal Pickleball Rating.
Dynamic universal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and think of it as just a way to put a number on your skill. The scale goes from 2.0, kind of beginner level, all the way up to 8,000. That's the absolute top pros.
And if you're brand new, you just show up as NR, not rated.
Exactly, NR. You need some match data to get your first rating.
And the big idea, the vision here is for DUPR to be the standard, right? Like the one rating everyone uses.
That seems to be the goal, yeah. For pros, amateurs, everyone. Gold standard stuff.
What makes it different, though? I mean, there are other rating systems.
Well, a really unique thing about DUPR that comes through in the sources is it's meant to be community-driven.
Okay. What does that mean in practice?
It means you can actually report results from just, recreational play, hitting with friends. It's not only about official tournaments.
Ah, okay. So that opens it up quite a bit.
Totally. It lets way more people get rated and, maybe adds a little competitive edge to those friendly games.
So wait, I can play my buddy, we enter the score, and that actually impacts our DUPR, assuming we both have one.
That's the idea, yeah. Provided you both validate the score in the system. Now, how does it actually calculate that number? It's all about this pretty advanced algorithm.
Right, the algorithm. It updates automatically when a match gets logged.
Yep, exactly. Soon as a result is in and verified, it crunches the numbers.
Okay, so let's peel back those layers. What's actually in the algorithm? What factors does it look at?
All right, so the sources point to several key things. The most basic one, factor one, match results. Simple enough, did you win or did you lose?
Okay, win goes up, lose goes down,
Yeah,
really.
generally. But like you said, it's not always that simple. I've seen wins where my rating barely budged.
Yeah, me too. Which brings us to factor two, score differential.
Right. How much did you win or lose by? That makes a big difference. Winning 11-2, for instance, that's going to boost your rating more than squeaking out an 11-9 win.
All else being equal, anyway.
Also mean equal, yeah. Bigger margin, bigger impact, positive or negative.
Okay, so win-loss score margin. But here's the one I think is really the core of it. Factor three, opponent rating.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is huge. The skill level of who you played against, probably the most significant factor.
So it's not just that you won, it's who you beat.
Precisely. Or even how you performed if you lost. Look, beating someone rated way higher than you, that gives your rating a much bigger jump than, say, crushing someone rated lower than you.
Even if the score against a lower player was like 11-0.
Even then, potentially.
Yeah.
Beating that higher-rated player 11-9 might actually tell the algorithm more about your true skill level improving than an easy win against someone lower. It's about exceeding expectations.
Ah, okay. So the algorithm is trying to figure out if you're playing better or worse than expected based on the ratings going into the match.
You got it.
Hmm.
Is measuring performance against that expectation. So an upset win suggests you might be underrated. A predictable win just confirms things.
Makes sense. What about playing someone who doesn't have a rating yet? The NR folks.
Good question. That's factor four. Rated versus unrated opponents. Basically matches against players with an established DUPR. That's higher quality data for the algorithm.
Because the system knows what that opponent's level is supposed to be.
Right. If you play an unrated person, the system kind of defaults them to a 3.5, I believe.
Oh, interesting. So it takes a guess.
Yeah, it has to start somewhere. Your rating will still adjust based on the win or loss, but the algorithm has less confidence because, well, that opponent's skill is a bit of a question mark.
It's like using a precise measuring tape versus, I don't know, pacing it out. Less certainty.
Good analogy. Okay, next factor. Recency of matches. When did you play?
This seems important for keeping it current.
Totally. More recent matches count more. Your DUPR should reflect your game now, not what it was 6 months or a year ago. Old results fade in importance over time.
And linked to that, factor six, frequency of play, how often you're logging matches.
Yes. The sources indicate that if you play a lot, your rating tends to stabilize more. It won't jump around quite as dramatically with each individual match.
Right, because one match is just a small drop in a big bucket of data.
Exactly. Whereas if you've only played, say, 5 matches ever, that sixth match, it's going to have much bigger percentage impact on your rating.
Like that Greg Hung profile example we saw, multiple matches on one day, but the rating changes were tiny, like 0.008, 0.027.
Yeah, because he likely has a ton of matches in the system. His rating is established, the algorithm has a lot of confidence, so it's just making tiny tweaks based on recent results.
Okay. And the last one. Factor 7. Match formats. This one surprised me a bit.
Yeah, it's subtle. The idea seems to be that DUPR trusts results from some formats more than others.
Like tournaments versus just hitting around.
Sort of DUPR club matches, sanctioned tournaments where a director uploads the scores, the system puts higher confidence in those results. It's seen as more structured, maybe more reliable data.
But you can still add your regular games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Through that DUPR on-demand feature, you enter it, your opponent confirms. It still counts, but maybe the weight or the confidence level is slightly higher for those official uploads.
Okay, got it. It's about data integrity, consistency.
Seems like it. Now, a couple of quick nuances. What about singles versus doubles? Does it mush them together?
Thankfully, no. The sources are clear. DUPR tracks them separately. You get a distinct rating for singles and another one for doubles.
Good. Makes sense. Different games, really.
Totally different skills sometimes.
And in doubles, there's this concept the sources mention, win expectancy.
Okay, walk us through that. How does it work for teams?
So for a doubles match, the algorithm looks at the individual DUPR ratings of both players on a team.
Right.
It averages them to get a kind of team rating. Then it compares Team A's average rating to Team B's average rating.
To predict who should win.
Exactly. It calculates the probability, the win expectancy. Now, if your team pulls off the upset you win, when the ratings predicted you'd lose, your individual ratings get a bigger boost.
Because you outperform the expectation.
Precisely. If you win as the favorite, your rating still goes up, but it's more of a smaller, steady gain. It just confirms you're playing at your level.
So, beating a team with a higher average DUPR, even by a tight score, could be better for your rating than beating a lower-rated team easily. It comes back to opponent strength again.
It really does seem central to the whole thing.
Okay, besides the rating itself, that 4-digit number, there's that other thing on the profile. The reliability score. What's that about?
Ah, yes. This is super important. It's a percentage from 1% up to 100%. And it basically tells you how confident DUPR is in your rating number.
So, like, the rating is what skill level it thinks you are, and the reliability is how sure it is.
That's a perfect way to put it, yeah. Low reliability means the system doesn't have much data. Maybe it's old data, so your rating could be kind of shaky, might jump around a lot.
And high reliability.
High score means you've logged plenty of recent matches, especially against other rated players. The system feels pretty good that your DUPR number accurately reflects your current game.
Okay, so how do you get that reliability score up? Just play more.
Pretty much. Play more, log your matches consistently, ideally play against other people who are already in the DUPR system. More good data equals higher reliability.
Right. Which brings us to something you hear a lot. My DUPR is way off. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that's a common frustration, especially for newer players or people who play infrequently.
Why does that happen? Just not enough data yet.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're just starting or you took a break or you only have like 10 matches logged, that rating is likely to feel a bit off or swing wildly after one good or bad day.
Because the algorithm is still trying to zero in on your true level. It needs more data points.
Exactly. But the good news, and the sources emphasize this, is that the accuracy gets much, much better over time.
As you play more.
As you play more and feed it more data, your match history builds up. Those crazy outlier results, that amazing win, that terrible loss, they start to matter less because they get averaged in with everything else.
So the advice is patience and keep playing, keep logging those scores.
Basically, yes. Consistent play is the cure for that my rating feels wrong feeling.
Okay, so knowing all this technical stuff, how can you, the listener, actually use this understanding? Not to like game the system, but to help it give you a more accurate rating.
Right. It's about giving the algorithm the kind of information it values most, which in turn helps you track your real progress.
So based on those factors we talked about, what's tip number 1?
Play regularly. Consistency. Keep feeding it current data.
And who should you try to play against?
Ideally, play competitive matches against other DUPR-rated players. and specifically, players who are around your level or maybe just a little bit better,
Why slightly better?
because those matches provide the richest data. Beating someone slightly better shows growth. Competing closely, even in a loss, tells the system you can hang at that level. Beating someone much lower doesn't tell it as much.
Okay. And where should you play? Does format matter for accuracy?
Well, the sources suggest playing in those structured formats. DUPR club events, leagues, tournaments can be beneficial because the system has higher confidence in that data. But definitely still log your rec play too.
Right. Every bit helps. Now, what about tough opponents? People way better than you. Avoid them.
No, actually the opposite. Don't duck tougher competition.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you lose, playing stronger players gives the algorithm valuable info about your potential and current ceiling. A respectable loss against a much higher player likely won't hurt your rating much, if at all.
Interesting. Okay, back to score differential. Always aim for 11 nil.
Well, focus on winning, obviously.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
winning by a bigger margin is generally better, yes. But remember the context of opponent strength.
Ah, that crucial factor again.
Yeah. Beating a higher rated team 11-9 might do more for your rating's upward trend than blowing out a much lower rated team 11-1. Both things matter, margin and opponent, but opponent's strength seems really key for assessing your relative skill.
So finish strong, but don't obsess over margin if the opponent context isn't challenging.
That seems like a balanced approach. And conversely, maybe avoid constant massive mismatches if your goal is purely rating accuracy. They don't provide much useful data for fine-tuning.
Okay. And use the tools DUPR gives you, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Track your progress. Look at both the rating and the reliability score together. See how confident the system is.
And be proactive in adding data.
Yes. Use that DUPR on demand for your rec games. Get your opponents to validate the scores. The more accurate matches you log, the better the system works for everyone, including you.
It's about participating, not just waiting for a number to appear.
Exactly. So let's tie this all back to you, the listener. Why does digging into these DUPR mechanics actually matter?
Well, I think knowing how it works takes the mystery out of it. You see your rating change, and now you can actually look back at your matches and understand why. Was it the opponent, the score, both? It becomes feedback, not just a number.
Yeah, and it gives you a sense of control, almost.
Yeah.
By playing consistently, choosing competitive matches, logging scores, you're actively contributing to the accuracy of your own rating.
Right. Your DUPR isn't some final judgment. It's just a snapshot based on the data it has. And the more thoughtful you are about the data you give it.
The better that snapshot reflects your actual game. You're not just chasing points, you're using this tool to understand and maybe even guide your improvement.
So wrapping up this deep dive on DUPR, what's the big picture?
It's a pretty sophisticated system, really. It rewards playing consistently, playing competitively against people near your level, and it cleverly blends win-loss, score margin, and opponent strength.
And don't forget that reliability score. It's just as important, telling you how much the system trusts your rating number. It grows with data.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Ultimately, play more, log more, play competitively against rated folks, and your DUPR will become a more accurate, stable reflection of your true pickleball skill.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to take away, and maybe chew on next time you're heading to the courts. Now that you have a clearer picture of how DUPR calculates things, knowing it weighs opponent strength, score differential, consistency, does that knowledge fundamentally change how you might think about match strategy? Does it influence who you seek out to play or how you approach those games?